everybody, today I thought I would do a video on my concealer collection, and I thought I'd do this because as a fair girl it's quite hard to find concealers, and concealers that are lighter than you are definitely very rare, and you want those because you want to highlight areas of your face and kind of brighten them up and make them appear a bit more forward, and I don't know. Why do we conceal in those areas and brighten those areas? Just to make them appear more vibrant and kind of give your face a dimension. So I want to share with you the concealers that I use. Now I've got two that are no longer made and they're by Dainty Doll. I have 001 and 002, and I actually have backup of these because, like I said, they don't make this brand anymore, which is sad. But this one is 001. And it's nice and pale, and this one is 002. Now what's interesting about this brand actually is the 001 foundation, which is very, very light. It's actually lighter than the concealer, so I think that's quite unusual. What I do love about these concealers is they are very, very creamy. So this one's 001, as you can see, it's very light and it's really great for the highlighting sort of thing, and 002 is more my sort of skin tone. So that's those there on the back of my hand. 01, 02. You might be able to pick these up on eBay and like sites that sell older makeup, like, Fragrance Direct sells makeup that is like no longer sold in shops. So they sell sort of previous lines of makeup, a bit like TK Maxx sell previous lines of clothes. And these blend out so beautifully. Like, that is the perfect colour for my skin tone. And the other one is just a tiny shade lighter. My hands are a little bit brown. I have caught some sun, so that's not normally the colour I would be. I'm normally very pale. But yeah, nice and brightening, and that one's a really perfect match to my skin tone. As I said, they are so incredibly creamy. If you can find these, they are just amazing concealers. I've actually used them for quite some time. I had one of these before. I used it all up, but I'd actually paid full price when it was actually retailing at Boots. When these came down reduced in price, I did pick a couple of these up. I think I picked up 3 of each actually. I have them on my stock drawer, but I do absolutely love these concealers, so I was really excited to get back into them again. And like I said, they are just so creamy and so blendable. They're nice and thick also, so I just find, because they're thick and more of a thicker creamy consistency in sort of a pot rather than like, rather than something like this, I just find that the consistency of them means they just kind of provide more coverage than sort of a liquid concealer will. And I think that's just because they don't blend away quite so easily when you're working with them. So moving on to sort of stick sort of concealers, which is this sort of concealer. This is the Revlon Photo Ready Concealer. So this one is in 002, light pale. I find it quite unusual that it's 002 when it is actually the lightest one that they do, but it is very nice. I do have a backup of this because whenever there's a 3 for 2 at Boots, I will be in there thinking I need to get a foundation or I need to get this. Then what I generally do is get what I want that I need because I've run out of it, get something that I want to try, and then get a favourite item that I use all the time as a backup. But this one's really lovely. It's so creamy. That is it there. And this one, again, it blends out beautifully, and this has great coverage also. I just find that this kind of consistency has better coverage than a liquid concealer to me, just because I think I'm a little heavy-handed with brushes sometimes, and I can blend away a little bit too much and get excited with the whole blending process. So I find the creamier ones do provide a little bit better coverage. I also just find that they sit really nicely on the skin also. This one is called Blue Music, I'm assuming by Vivitor, and it's a dual-ended one, and this one is the dual multi-beat concealer. And what you get with this one is you get the concealer stick at one end, and this one was from a Mimi box. Now what I find with this concealer, it is very peach. That's it there. So this is really good. I mean, the consistency of this and the coverage is fantastic, but it is quite peach toned. This is quite nice for underneath the eyes actually, just because it brightens up the area quite nicely. But I think that's what this is essentially meant for, because at the other end is your liquid, and this is meant to highlight. So you may be able to find this in an online Korean beauty store. I don't know if you can see there. It's quite nice. It's got a little bit of a sheen to it, and It blends into the skin quite nicely. So this is more of a highlighting concealer rather than a standard concealer, because what you have is highlighting concealers that are used, never use them on spots because they're just going to just, you know, draw huge attention to them. These are actually meant for kind of under the eyes where you want to reflect light and take away those dark tones or those shadows and reflect light on that area to make it look brighter and to, you know, erase those dark circles and areas. And this is really quite nice to use also down the nose to kind of just brighten that and contour the centre of the nose, on the cupid's bow also. And then some people do the forehead and on the chin. I do tend to do on the chin now, which I definitely think makes a difference actually. So this is more of a highlighting concealer. And while we're on the topic of highlighting concealers, I talk about the two that I do have. I have the L'Oreal Lumi Magique. And this one's actually nearly all done now. It's one of those ones that you click it and it's got a brush on the end. And I find this works really well. I've always really liked it. It blends in beautifully and does its job, but you can't beat Yves Saint Laurent Touche Éclat. I got this when it came out quite a few years ago. I use it more on special occasions or if I've got a really long day with lots of meetings and events to go to and I really want my makeup to stay perfect all day. This is another click wand brush applicator, and this is the most amazing highlighter for under the eyes ever. You put it on and it just totally erases anything that goes on under the eye and you just look so fresh. I would definitely repurchase this once this is empty because there's just nothing like it. It's just totally amazing and worth the extra money, though it is very pricey. So I have one roll-on concealer that is actually targeted for dark circles under the eyes, and it is the Garnier Anti-Dark Circles, which is the Rollerball. What I like about this one is this one has a nice applicator and it feels incredibly cool when you apply it. I don't know why I'm swatching these, they are my skin colour, but this one does have a little bit of a smell. It does have that Garnier smell, which I think has quite a sort of fresh, dewy spring sort of smell about it, which I think is actually really nice, and I do find that it is really effective. Like I said, I only use the Yves Saint Laurent on special occasions or long days. So on like standard days, I will use the Lumi Magique, or I will use this one. This one's really great. I find that it just rolls on really nicely and blends in perfectly and definitely does the job. So if you're looking for something on the high street that, you know, is targeted for dark circles, this I think as well, it's got things in it that will actually help deal with like sort of the dark circles and any kind of puffiness under the eyes. So it's not just a product that's going to hide, it's actually a product that's going to work on the problems that are there and kind of sort of reduce any inflammation. So I find that's a really nice product. I have two concealer pencils to show you. One is brand new, so I can't say a huge amount about it. I've got L'Oreal's True Match Super Blendable Creamy Concealer. I actually just got this, so I can't really say very much about it yet, but it comes like this in a pencil format. This one doesn't seem to have a shade on it, but it's just one of those that you turn up from the bottom. This is the lightest shade that they do, and I don't know if you're going to see that, but it is quite nice actually. It's like quite light, and like I said, it is quite difficult when you're very pale to find things that really suit you that don't have like kind of an orange tone to them, because you know, when you're really pale and you don't have a huge amount of colour in your skin, the last thing you want to do is put a concealer on that has any kind of hint of orange to it. You want it to be more of a peachy tone, more of a flesh tone rather than an orange tone, because otherwise it's just really going to enhance the things that you're actually trying to hide. So this one actually seems really nice. It's really creamy when it goes on. It doesn't drag on the skin or anything, so I'm quite excited to start using that, and then I'll feed back about that in the future. And then the other one that is the same sort of format is just amazing. This one's by Urban Decay. This one is the 24/7 Concealer Pencil. This one is in CIA, which is the lightest shade that they do. And this one's really nice. This is very pale. So what I use this for is actually down the bridge of my nose when I do my contouring, and I do a little bit of highlighting with concealer and different brightening products. I put this down the centre of my nose and then just kind of gently blend it out with my finger, because this is the lightest concealer that I've ever come across, in all honesty. So if you are really pale, then this is going to be the one for you, because I've never seen anything as light as this that lacks a lot of sort of coloration. So it's nice and light, and perfect for pale skin, but it doesn't have too many strong colours in it, so it's not strongly peach, it's not strongly pink or yellow, or it doesn't have any orange to it. It just is a really nice pale fair colour. So I just think that that one's great. And like I said, it's the lightest one, but it's incredibly creamy. Absolutely gorgeous. I highly recommend that one. I think I got mine from Feel Unique, but I'm pretty sure that they also sell these Debenhams online, and of course from the Urban Decay site. So my last concealers are all liquid concealers. The first one I'm going to talk about is one that I'm not a huge fan of, but the colour is quite nice. This one's by Makeup Revolution, and I'm not sure what colour it is, but it is the lightest colour. All these concealers I'm showing you are the lightest colour in every range. If I do a heavy swatch of it, you can see it is very light. It is great. It's nice and bright. Again, this one lacks any strong coloration of any other sort of pinks or peaches or oranges. I don't think it kind of blends well with other products particularly, and I just find that it kind of sits on the skin rather than melting in with everything and looking like skin. I just don't think it covers very well either. It has got a strong smell to it. I just find when it comes out sometimes it can be a little bit gloopy on the applicator, a little bit bitty, and then when you blend it in I don't feel it gets like the best coverage, and it kind of feels tacky on your skin. So I kind of feel like you have to work a little bit harder to get that one to kind of work for you, but it is very cheap and the colour is fantastic. So maybe the actual consistency of the product is not great, but definitely the coloration and the price point are very good. The next one is by number 17. This is the Hideaway Concealer. And I love this. I mean, I've gone through tube upon tube of this concealer. It's really, really nice. Mine is in the colour Fair. It's just got the standard sort of applicator, and that's what it looks like. It doesn't have a strong undertone of any kind of yellows or oranges or peaches or pinks, but it leans a little bit more peach. But it is very, very nice. I find that this concealer works really, really well, covering anything, covering spots, covering dark circles. It doesn't have any highlighting properties, so you can use it anywhere on the face, and I find that it blends in quite nicely. I find that it lasts all day, whether you set it with a powder or not. I find it is a really long-lasting product, and I do find, like I said, it does conceal really well. So if I've got a spot, then I'll dab this on and blend it in and pat it in with my finger, and the coverage is fantastic. And this is actually really cheap, so I would spend the extra money that, you know, it's not even much difference. I want to say this is between £3 and £4, and I think this might have been £1. Spend the extra couple of pounds and get the number 7 Hideaway Concealer. I don't know if it's still called that because it's quite some time since I've purchased it, but I find that the number 17 concealers are really great. Just love the consistency and the end result. The next one, I'm not sure where I got this from, but it's the Trick and Treatment by Soap and Glory. And it's just in the standard packaging. I'm sure this is in the lightest shade also. Again, it's another sponge applicator, and that is what it looks like. I think the fairer ones that lean more with a white base tend to be the ones that I tend to go for more, just because they're more my skin tone. But this one is quite nice. It does blend in very nicely, and yeah, this one's got decent coverage. It's not something I would actually purchase again, but it is Trick and Treatment, so it does actually have some sort of treatment properties in there. So there's actually stuff in there that is actually quite good for your spots. So not only is it hiding them, but it's kind of treating them at the same time. So that is quite good for that, really. So if you do have sort of spot prone skin and you're not too fussed about putting foundation on, you just kind of want to cover your spots and maybe put a tinted moisturiser on and kind of, or a BB cream, which is a blemish balm. You put your blemish balm on, but you still haven't covered those spots. You could put a blemish balm on and then put this on, and then both of those products are actually going to be quite nice for your skin. They're not going to clog it up. They're going to be, you know, treating your skin as well as covering your problems. So I think this would probably be quite nice to use with a BB cream if you did have problem skin. The next one that I have is actually from Revlon. It's the Colour Stay Concealer in 01 Fair. And I love this concealer. I don't like the foundation as it happens, but I do love the actual concealer. I find that this one is very, very fair. It's really perfect because this one doesn't have strong undertones either, but there it is there. It just has that nice sort of slightly pink to it, slightly pinky peach. That is the undertone to my skin anyway, and as you can see I've kind of patted it with my finger there, and this one is really quite nice and fair. This one has fantastic coverage. It does retail for a little bit more than number 17, but then again, if you were like looking for something a little bit more than the number 17, then that is probably your next step up, because the Revlon Colour Stay is just gorgeous. It feels very lightweight on the skin, it's very long lasting, and it offers great coverage. So I really love the Revlon one, and I actually reach for this one a lot, and I just find that this colour is really great if you're very fair. Like I said, it's quite hard to find a concealer when you're very fair, but I feel like this one is just really gorgeous, and you know, it doesn't make you look like sometimes in the past when I've tried concealers. You can put them on and you can actually see where they're kind of a little bit of a different colour to your foundation, or they're a little darker, or they've got a little bit too much orange to them, or a little bit too much yellow or peach, and you don't want that. You want something that's going to blend seamlessly with your foundation or your tinted moisturiser or BB cream. I find that that one works really well. I think just because it's really quite lightweight, but it offers really great coverage. I think it's just fantastic, that one, and like I said, so long lasting on the skin, it's perfect. So if I was having a really long day, the Revlon's probably the one that I would go for, just because I know that it's just going to stay there and I'm not going to have a problem. So I really love that one. And then the last two are my favourites. So I have the Pro Long Wear Concealer in NW15. I don't know if they do this in NC15. This comes in a little pump bottle. I apologise for how manky that is. But this stuff, right? This will just last you forever. I've had this forever and I've only used half of it. Now, what I find though, the pump can actually pump out a little bit too much. One pump, when you pump it, you need the tiniest little dot of this for coverage, because the coverage of this is beyond amazing. It is so highly intense, and it just covers anything. So when I've had redness that's been a real problem, and other concealers, when you blend them, they still not fully covering that red, this concealer will tackle anything and cover it. So I love this stuff. Like I said, it pumps too much out if you're just wanting to cover one spot. What I do is, I got this little jar from MAC, from the MAC counter, which they give you samples in, and then what I do is I just pump out a little bit into here. I just pump, say, 1 or 2 pumps at a time, and then I just use this with a tiny little brush, and then just use it on the areas that I need it. So it's fantastic like that, because then I don't waste any product. I feel like if I pump it, then I'm wasting product, because I'm not using everything that I pump out. The other thing that is also great about this product is you can actually use this as a foundation, and I have done that. So I will actually pump this out on that occasion. I'll take it and I'll dab it into the areas that I feel like I've got redness, because I do have rosacea. So I'm feeling like quite conscious about the redness on my cheeks and my nose. I'll dab it in those areas, and then I'll blend that in, and then I'll put my foundation on top, and you will get flawless coverage. And the great thing about it is it's so long lasting. So you put that on, and then even during the day, I'm a face toucher. So if some of the, you know, my base products come off, that actually will still cover really strongly. So I just find that the coverage is fantastic for throughout the day, which is what I'm looking for really when I've got some redness and I'm very self-conscious about it, as well as kind of acne scarring. When you have cystic acne, what you find is that it will come up and be very red for quite a long time, and then as it goes away, it can take a long time for the cystic acne places, for me in particular, to heal. So I'm left with like no spot, but redness still remains in the area where the cystic acne was, and it can take a long time for that red to actually go. So this actually works really well for coverage for that. So I love this as a foundation. It's also quite nice if you mix it in with a tinted moisturiser and use it as a foundation. I find it's a really great multi-use sort of product, so it's not just a concealer. If you want something super heavy coverage, sort of as a foundation, then this is your friend. This is going to do the job. It's going to provide amazing coverage and a really flawless finish. So that is amazing. And then the last concealer I'm going to talk about is actually my favourite. I love this concealer, and this is the Naked Skin Concealer. Comes in packaging like that. Mine's in Fair Neutral, which is the lightest shade that they do. and it's perfect. I use this every single day. I'm definitely going to be repurchasing this. Like I said, I do try to use some of the other ones occasionally because I don't want to run out of this, but I use this every day for under my eyes and sort of highlighting sort of areas of my face. I don't use it for coverage of spots. I use other concealers for that reason. And I'll use it in conjunction with, say, the anti-dark circles. I'll put that under the eyes, or I'll use my other sort of products, and I'll use the concealer with it. It just blends beautifully. It's an amazing colour. It lasts ages on the skin and just sets really well, and it just feels like it is your skin. So it doesn't feel like it's cakey or cracks. It just kind of just melts in with everything else that you're wearing it with. That's what the wand looks like, and that's the colour. So that's the colour there, which, as you can see, is very pale. And as I blend it out, you can just see how that tiny little bit has gone so far there, provided great coverage, and it's nice and bright. So that is by far my favourite of all of them, and I absolutely love it. So I hope you've enjoyed that video today, guys. Let me know if there's any other videos in this series that you'd like to see me do. Don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe as always. Hope you're having a great day wherever you are and whatever you're doing, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!